Value Impulses with Dr. Ulrich Vogel. Personnel Diagnostics Insights, Leadership Assessments, and Personnel Development.
A warm welcome, dear listeners, to our podcast Value Impulses and to a special episode, our 2024 Year in Review. Yes, I usually wrote it, but now, with the podcast, of course, it's different. So, it's time to do this verbally. Of course, we'll also transcribe it, as it's been a turbulent year, and I'll get right to it. Time is valuable. I've prepared 7 sections. I'll start by talking about our team, because people are what matter most. The most valuable thing we have, and then I'll move on to the front end of our business, namely marketing and sales. Then I'll move on to the practical side of profiling values, which means consulting on the one hand in a broader sense, and then our system itself, so training and system provider profiling values. After that, I'll cover 2 special topics. First is the podcast, which is very close to my heart. And then the topic of artificial intelligence, where there's also quite a bit to report. And the 7th point, if I've counted correctly, is a conclusion with a brief outlook. Let's get started. So, there are now 6 of us at Profiling Values. There were a few more of us in recent years, but that was a bit too much. And now we set things up so that it fits with what we want to achieve and what we're capable of doing. And yes, with Isabel, with Sarah, with Heike in the core team, Isabel working behind the scenes, Sarah Stark in marketing as head of marketing, Heike in sales with me and in training, as well as Hannah and Fabian, our working students, who have both made really fantastic contributions to our company. Each and every one of them in their own way. And we also did an analysis of our team once. That was the quant analysis, which I can recommend here. A special thanks to Jürgen Kern, who carried this out with us and provided us with some valuable insights. And I think we're growing closer together and moving forward as a result. So, I'm proud of our team. Second point, marketing and sales. Marketing is necessary, but by no means sufficient on its own. And that's why, from my perspective, sales is always absolutely vital here. It's absolutely essential, and I really believe that. It's an illusion when people think that just by doing marketing, especially in the B2B sector, they've got it all figured out. And then they expect the inquiries to just pour in. I think that's unrealistic. So, what did we do in marketing? As I said, Sarah was responsible for that. We set ourselves up properly. In past years, we were sometimes a bit too reactive and not planned enough in our approach. And yeah, if you look at the website today, I think it's already really, really good. But we're still tweaking things a bit, especially when it comes to social media marketing. It's set up really nicely, and in terms of content, it's largely, or very much, shaped by Hannah, who's doing an amazing job here. And right now, we're working on building the customer journeys well, so that when people find us, they're nicely guided through the process to become customers. Yeah, and sales, so the need to proactively reach out and approach people. Honestly, between 2019, 2018, and 2022, I made mistakes here. I really let things slide, let them slide too much. I thought, it'll happen, it's well known now, word will get around. It's so good that it just has to be recommended further. Well, profiling values really is very, very good, but if you don't do anything for it, you'll just fade away beautifully. So, you really have to get out there. And actually, since then, since 2023, I've been fully committed to it. And I approach people and try to really push it forward. I've also received good advice from Renee Reifenberg, who is set up as a consultant in sales with WeJust, but also with us. He's certified, actually, in profiling values and so of course can really contribute to the conversation. This year alone, we've already gained roughly 30 new clients. That's already pretty good for us here in the B2B sector. But you plan to significantly increase that next year. Maybe it's still a bit early, and it's also become harder to sell. You really have to position yourself very, very precisely at first. You have to get out there with content and marketing, just like I mentioned before, but you also have to be very, very diligent. You have to approach people, reach out, and keep at it. Decision cycles are getting longer. The market is, of course, also more saturated with competitors. That's the case for us as well. It used to be harder to identify the people who actually fit into the target group. Today, of course, you can identify them quite well, for example through LinkedIn, but then actually getting people interested and turning them into real clients. That really is an art, and I've tried it myself, and I'm just terrible at it. I don't think I'm cut out for sales either, but I did end up finding someone for that, namely Sebastian Auer from Selling with Values on LinkedIn, and I'm actually in his program now. And it's a ton of fun, because we want to bring our services to the market as well, which brings me to my third point, consulting. We've also gained some new clients here, by the way, some really great ones, including 2 truly global, larger companies that pretty much everyone knows. But also, for example, the Sparkassen Group, which I can mention without naming any one in particular, has been a very loyal and valued client. In our consulting division, we also work with larger software companies. So, what exactly do we do in consulting at Profiling Values? We start with a brief analysis, so to speak, especially when it comes to recruitment processes, where we take a closer look at the candidates and do a quick assessment. Then we move on to assessments, which is actually my area of expertise, where we really dive deep to understand how people are wired, where they currently stand, what their strengths are, and where there's room for development. And assessments are, on the one hand, used in the area of selection, so for filling positions, but of course also very much in the development area as well, so that you're not just taking a scattergun approach, but instead developing people in a targeted way. So, brief analyses, assessments, but then also high-level consulting projects. That's something I really enjoy, and sometimes I also do longer-term coaching sessions. I remember here that I was able to accompany some people throughout the entire year this year. That's the consulting part, my third point for today. The fourth point is system provider, profiling values in training and further education. We certified about 40 new people. We're proud of that, but we want to significantly increase that number next year. Our learning journey is being well received. We have about 25 live calls throughout the year. We had 2 great in-person workshops this year in March. And November was really, really good. For the newcomers, it's completely free. And yeah, for those who have been with us longer, we have a small flat fee of €99, which covers food and so on. And the room costs, I think that's actually quite reasonable. And we had a great mix there. So I encourage everyone who's interested and has been with us for a while to connect and exchange ideas. A day like that is really fantastic. In 2025, on the 18th of March, we'll have the first in-person workshop in Munich, and on the 11th of November. On November 11th, we'll have the second one again. So, I think here, we're really offering a lot. But we believe that we need to integrate the new certificate holders even better and that we want to provide even better support here. And I'll come back to that in a moment when we talk about AI. I'll go into a bit more detail on that then. Maybe just 2 more points here regarding training and further education. We have Profiling Values Pro, which are the 5 special formats we've developed that you can now also book as part of learning journeys. These include the team overview, the sales report, the leadership excellence report, the balance report, and also the team roles tool. We already have 55 people in Profiling Values Pro who have this full license. What else did we do in the training? We decided to offer values-based leadership in small doses. To offer that as well, for example, we held 3 sessions on values-based leadership in practice in February, each 90 minutes long, which were very, very well received. And in October, we focused a bit on strategic team play and team roles, which was also very well received. So, we want to continue developing as a systems provider and, of course, be strong in consulting as well. And now, in 5th and 6th place, I have 2 special topics. Special topics that I want to quickly highlight. Looking back over the year, one is the podcast, which we started just over a year ago. Of course, the topics we deal with are included there, both as I just mentioned in consulting, but also in training. But the podcast is called Wordy Impulse, Value Impulses, so I often approach things from a meta level, meaning I bring in value science as well, just to be clear. In a digestible way, so everyone can understand it. I prepare it the way Robert S. Hartman developed it, simply to further promote value-based thinking and action, as well as value-based leadership, in our society and in our working world. But I also occasionally take up economic or political topics, simply because I enjoy it. After all, I once studied political science. And that's why I want to incorporate these things. Of course, there were plenty of interviews. I can't list everyone here now. Altogether, over the course of that 1 year, we recorded 60 episodes, and I think, well, half of them were interviews. But I want to single out one thing. We recorded 3 episodes on it. That was with Hannah and Fabian, our colleague and our co-worker, who are both much, much younger than I am. And we thought, let's do a cross-generational dialogue on certain topics. And that was an absolute blast. I always think you can learn an incredible amount from the younger generation. And I really, really enjoy working with young people. It was also really well prepared and carried out by Hannah and Fabian. Of course, there were also lots of solo episodes. And yeah, then, after almost a year, I thought maybe it was time to professionalize things a bit, so I did a sort of relaunch. Planned and executed. I did that with Florian Shatner from Podmark, whom I can highly, highly recommend. He really helped us to prepare and conceptualize what we now call Season 2, and also supported us in bringing it forward in the media. That brings me right to the topic of media. My English book is now finished. That was also an important project. Key Factor Value-Based Leadership. In 2023, I published Key Factor Value-Based Leadership, and now I've brought it to the international stage, into English. A big part of the credit also goes to Hannah, who worked on this with me. And since I'm currently working on the podcast as well, we're now going to release a podcast book each year, so Value Impulses, where I wrap up the most important content from the previous year into engaging stories. Each one will be published in the following year. This year, I also had the chance to publish a few other pieces and give a whole series of talks, which I really, really enjoy. So that was the podcast topic, and right after that, the media. And now, the topic of AI. Really, really exciting. At this point, I also want to highlight our Fabian, who works with us, who's a real trailblazer in this area and has helped me move forward in so many ways. We have 2 projects that I'm pushing forward with him. First, the website assistant, which is now finished and will be going live in the next few days, so you'll be able to chat with the assistant directly on our website. And it's very targeted. You can search, ask questions, and get the support you need. And what's even more challenging, or a tougher job, is our profiling values. AI, as we call it. We're currently in the process of feeding all the knowledge from our certification, meaning our entire training program, into an artificial intelligence with the appropriate instructions. The goal is to provide qualified support here for all certified users. In the sense that, hey, I can reach out to the assistant here 24/7 at any time and get a direct response. We're also integrating voice functions and so on. So, I'd say this is going to be a kind of masterpiece when it comes to AI for us. Because we know that profiling values is demanding. It's not that easy to learn. It's not just something simple like that. It's not just red, yellow, green, blue, and that's it. You really have to dig deeper. And here, having a qualified assistant you can really talk to and communicate with at any time, without limits, is something we consider very important. But we're also working on other AI applications as well. For example, we're currently preparing a podcast assistant, transcribing all episodes and also creating instructions. Providing instructions so that you can ask the assistant about specific topics and then get the episodes with timestamps. You actually get information on where to listen again, or summaries of one episode or another episode. So here, the entire podcast or all podcast content is made usable through AI. But I also already use the custom assistants in my consulting work, and I think very successfully, even in sales. It's also very interesting how you can use AI here. And in content marketing, especially by Hannah, and also Sarah, we use AI as well. And that's something, a topic, that really fascinates me and where I really dive in. Yes, I'm coming to the 7th point, basically the conclusion. From an economic perspective, it was, on the one hand, a really tough year. We're now in the 3rd year of stagnation in the German economy. And of course, we definitely notice that, because we work a lot with multipliers who, so to speak, get their budgets for HR development projects and so on from companies, including for recruitment, internally, where we are. And when things slow down there, we definitely feel it too. But even though it was a tough year, at the same time it was also a happy year, a good year. Because so many great things have developed for us as well, and as a team, we're really moving forward together. So, in that sense, I'd say we're on the right track, and I want to. At this point, I just realized I forgot to mention our collaboration with Rettenkorn AG when talking about sales earlier. That's Harry Huber and his wife, Marina Huber, who run a network company and have been a huge help to me. They really helped me connect more with people in HR. And the 3 of us are also friends, along with my wife. So I can honestly say, Rettenkorn is a really great partnership. Back to the conclusion, and maybe a look ahead as well. On one hand, I look to the future with realism. Nothing just falls from the sky, and there are no low-hanging fruits here. We really have to work hard for everything now. But that's also something I enjoy. We're really standing on solid ground now, being realistic about things. And that's why I'm genuinely excited for next year. And next year will be shaped by that. It will be about delivering excellence in marketing and sales, and then providing support at the same level of excellence for our certified users in their training and further education. And I also have ambitions in consulting, but there are time constraints as well, because the system provider is more important when it comes to profiling values, to the value mathematics of Robert S., to continue bringing Hartmann's work out into the world. And in achieving this excellence, AI will play a really big role. So, thank you very much for sticking with me until the end, for listening to my year in review from Wordy Impulse and Profiling Values, along with a look ahead to next year. I hope you'll continue to join us as a listener, that our topics will keep you interested, and that we can help you gain insights and expand your knowledge. And now I wish you a truly wonderful end of the year, a great start to the new year, happy holidays, and a lovely festive season. And yes, wishing you a great start into a wonderful, happy, successful, content, and above all, healthy new year. Happy New Year 2025. Thank you, and see you very soon. Bye.